Experience the heart-soothing recitation of Raad Al-Kurdi. Journey through Surah Yunus, verses 1 to 17, enhanced with the profound wisdom of Tafsir Al-Sa'di. A verse-by-verse reflection for the soul.
Alif Lam Ra. Tilka ayatul kitabil hakim. أكان للناس عجبا أن أوحينا إلى رجل منهم أن أنذر الناس وبشر الذين آمنوا أن لهم قدم صدق عند ربهم وبشر الذين آمنوا أن لهم قدم صدق عند ربهم قال الكافرون إن هذا لساحر مبين.
Translation. Alif, Lam, Ra. These are the verses of the Book of Wisdom. Does it seem strange to people that we have sent revelation to a man from among themselves, saying, "Warn the people and give glad tidings to those who believe, that they will have with their Lord the precedence merited by their sincerity?" But the disbelievers say, "This man is clearly a magician." Interpretation. Alif, Lam, Ra. Groups of letters, al-huruf al-muqatta, appear at the beginning of several surahs. The most correct scholarly view states that we are required to believe in them as they appear to be, without delving into their meaning, knowledge of which we should leave to Allah. We believe that they were not revealed in vain, and that there is wisdom behind them of which we are not aware. These are the verses of the Book of Wisdom, namely the Quran, which includes wisdom, and the verses of which establish rulings on the fundamental facts of faith and the commands and prohibitions of Islam, which all of humanity should believe in, accept and comply with. Despite that, most of them turn away, so they do not understand, and they find it strange that we have sent revelation to a man from among themselves, saying, "Warn the people of Allah's punishment and remind them of the signs of Allah. And give glad tidings to those who believe sincerely, that they will have with their Lord the precedence merited by their sincerity, that is, they will have an abundant reward that is stored up with their Lord, because of what they sent on ahead of sincere righteous deeds." The disbelievers found it strange that revelation was sent to this great man, and that led them to disbelieve in him. Hence the disbelievers say of him, "This man is clearly a magician." That is, the fact that he is a magician is obvious to anyone, or so they claimed. This was indicative of their foolishness and stubbornness, for they found strange a matter concerning which there was nothing strange at all. Rather, what is strange is their ignorance and failure to realize what was in their best interests. How could they not believe in this noble messenger, blessings and peace be upon him, whom Allah sent from among themselves, whom they knew very well? Yet they rejected his call and were eager to undermine his religion, but Allah perfects his light even though the disbelievers hate it.
إن ربكم الله الذي خلق السماوات والأرض في 6 أيام ثم استوى على العرش يدبر الأمر ما من شفيع إلا من بعد إذنه ذلكم الله ربكم فاعبدوه أفلا تذكرون إليه مرجعكم جميعا وعد الله حقا إنه يبدأ الخلق ثم يعيده ليجزي الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات بالقسط والذين كفروا لهم شراب من حميم وعذاب أليم بما كانوا يكفرون.
Translation. Verily your Lord is Allah, who created the heavens and the earth in 6 days, and then rose over the throne, in a manner that befits his majesty, directing all things. No one can intercede except with his permission. Such is Allah your Lord, so worship him. Will you not then pay heed? To him you will all return. This is a true promise from Allah. Verily he originates creation then repeats it, so that he may justly reward those who believe and do righteous deeds. But those who disbelieve will have scalding water to drink and a painful punishment, because they disbelieved. Interpretation. Here Allah highlights his lordship, divinity, and greatness. Verily your Lord is Allah, who created the heavens and the earth in 6 days, even though he is able to create them in a single moment, because of the divine wisdom behind that, for he is not hasty in his actions. Another aspect of his wisdom is that he created them on the basis of and for truth, so that he may be known by his names and attributes, and worship may be devoted to him alone. And then, after creating the heavens and the earth, he rose over the throne in a manner that befits his greatness, directing all things in the upper and lower realms, such as causing death, giving life, sending down provision, giving the days of various fortune to people by turns, granting relief to those who have suffered harm, and responding to the pleas of those who ask of him. He is in full control in all senses. All of creation is subjugated to his might and submitting to his greatness and authority. No one can intercede except with his permission, so none of them can come forward to intercede, even if he is the best of creation, until Allah grants permission, and he does not grant permission to anyone except one with whom he is pleased, and he is not pleased with anyone except those who are sincere to him alone and affirm his oneness. Such that is, the one who is like this is Allah your Lord, that is, he is Allah, who is the divine, who possesses all attributes of perfection, all attributes of lordship, all attributes that reflect his actions. So worship him, that is, devote to him alone all that you can of various kinds of worship. Will you not then pay heed to the evidence which indicates that he alone is deserving of worship and praise, possessor of majesty and honor? Having mentioned his universal decree, which has to do with controlling all things, and his religious decree, which has to do with his laws and teachings, all of which point to one thing, which is that he alone is to be worshipped, with no partner or associate, Allah then mentions his decree of requital, which refers to his requital for deeds after death. To him you will all return, that is, he will gather you after your death for an appointed time on a certain day. This is a true promise from Allah, that is, his promise must inevitably come to pass. Verily he originates creation then repeats it, for the one who is able to initiate creation is able to repeat it. Hence the one who can see that he initiated creation, yet denies that he can repeat it, is lacking in reason and is denying one of two similar things whilst believing in the other. This is clear rational evidence for the day of resurrection. Then Allah mentions the textual evidence, as he says, this is a true promise from Allah, that is, his promise must inevitably come to pass, so that he may justly reward, that is, reward them for their faith and deeds, a reward that he explained to his slaves, and told them that no one knows what is hidden for them of delights, those who believe in their hearts, in that in which Allah commands them to believe, and do righteous deeds, that is, physical deeds, both obligatory and encouraged. But those who disbelieve in the signs of Allah and reject the messages of Allah, will have scalding water to drink, that is, water that is very hot and will scald their faces and pierce their bowels, and a painful punishment which will involve all kinds of torment because they disbelieve, that is, as a result of their disbelief and wrongdoing. Allah does not wrong them, rather they wrong themselves.
هو الذي جعل الشمس ضياء والقمر نورا وقدره منازل لتعلموا عدد السنين والحساب ما خلق الله ذلك إلا بالحق يفصل الآيات لقوم يعلمون إن في اختلاف الليل والنهار وما خلق الله في السماوات والأرض لآيات لقوم يتقون.
Translation. It is he who made the sun a radiant light and the moon a reflected light, and ordained its phases, so that you may know how to count the years and measure time. Allah has not created all of that except for a true purpose. He explains the signs in detail for people who have knowledge. Verily, in the alternation of the night and the day, and in all that Allah has created in the heavens and the earth, there are signs for those who fear him. Interpretation. Having affirmed his lordship and his divinity, Allah then mentions rational evidence in the universe that points to that and to the perfect nature of his names and attributes, such as the sun and moon, the heavens and the earth, and all that He has created therein of all kinds of creatures. He tells us that they are signs for people who have knowledge, Yunus 10 verse 5, and for those who fear Him, Yunus 10 verse 6. Knowledge will help one to recognize the evidence in those things, and how to derive proof in the most straightforward manner. Fear of Allah generates in the heart the desire to do good and the aversion towards evil that stem from recognizing the proof and evidence, and from knowledge and certainty. That is because the mere creation of these things in this manner is indicative of the perfect power, knowledge, and life of Allah, the Exalted, and indicates that He is the Sustainer. What we see in them of precision, brilliant design, and beauty is indicative of the perfect wisdom of Allah, the beauty of His creation, and the vastness of His knowledge. What we see in them of benefits, such as making the sun a radiant light and the moon a reflected light, through which essential and other benefits are attained, points to Allah's mercy and care for His slaves, and the vastness of His kindness and blessings. The variations in them are indicative of Allah's will, which is always done. That indicates that He alone is deserving of worship, love and praise, possessor of majesty and honor and of all great attributes. It is not appropriate to place one's hopes in or fear anyone except Him. It is not appropriate to direct sincere supplication to anyone except Him. It is not to be directed to anyone other than Him, such as created beings that are subject to His lordship and are in need of Allah in all their affairs. These verses urge and encourage us to reflect on the creation of Allah, to examine it and seek to learn lessons from it. Thus our insight will deepen, our faith and knowledge will increase, and reason will be strengthened. But neglecting that implies that one is taking this command of Allah lightly, which closes the door to any increase in faith and causes the mind to stagnate.
إن الذين لا يرجون لقاءنا ورضوا بالحياة الدنيا واطمأنوا بها والذين هم عن آياتنا غافلون أولئك مأواهم النار بما كانوا يكسبون.
Translation: Those who do not expect to meet us, and are pleased and satisfied with the life of this world, and are heedless to our signs, their abode will be the fire, because of what they used to earn. Interpretation: Those who do not expect to meet us, that is, they do not long to meet Allah, which is the greatest and most sublime that anyone could ever wish for. Rather they turn away from that and may disbelieve in it altogether, and are pleased and satisfied with the life of this world instead of the hereafter. They are content with it and have made it their ultimate goal and aspiration, so they strive for it and focus on its pleasures and desires, regardless of how they attain them, and whatever opportunities they come across, they rush to seize them, and they focus their thoughts, intentions, ideas, and deeds on attaining that. It is as if they were created to remain in this world forever, and as if it were not a temporary realm from which they take provision that will help them to reach the eternal realm to which they, the first and the last of them, will travel and to attain the delights and pleasures for which people should strive hard. And are heedless to our signs, so they do not benefit from the verses of the Quran or the signs in the universe or in their own selves. Turning away from evidence implies turning away from and neglecting that to which it points. Their abode, that is, the abode of these people and those who are like them, will be the fire, that will be the place where they will settle and remain, and will never depart from it, because of what they used to earn of disbelief, ascribing partners to Allah, and all kinds of sins. Having mentioned their punishment, Allah then mentions the reward of those who are obedient.
إن الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات يهديهم ربهم بإيمانهم تجري من تحتهم الأنهار في جنات النعيم دعواهم فيها سبحانك اللهم وتحيتهم فيها سلام وآخر دعواهم أن الحمد لله رب العالمين.
Translation: But as for those who believe and do righteous deeds, their Lord will guide them because of their faith. Rivers will flow at their feet in gardens of delight. Their prayer therein will be, Glory be to you, O Allah. Their greeting therein will be, Peace, and the end of their prayer will be, Praise be to Allah, the Lord of the worlds. Interpretation: But as for those who believe and do righteous deeds, that is, they combine faith with doing what it requires of righteous deeds, which includes deeds of the heart, beliefs, and physical actions done with sincerity and in accordance with the teachings of the Messenger of Allah, blessings and peace be upon him. Their Lord will guide them because of their faith, that is, because of the faith that they have, Allah will grant them the greatest reward, which is guidance. So He will teach them that which will benefit them, bless them by enabling them to do the deeds that stem from guidance, and guide them to contemplate His signs. In this world He will guide them to the straight path, and in the hereafter He will guide them to the path that will lead to the gardens of delight. Hence He says, rivers will flow at their feet constantly, in gardens of delight. Allah describes them thus because they contain all types of delight, filling the heart with joy, happiness, and cheerfulness, the joy of seeing the Most Gracious and hearing His words, and of attaining His good pleasure and being close to Him, the joy of meeting loved ones and brothers and enjoying their company, listening to delightful voices and pleasant tunes, gazing upon joyful scenes, physical pleasures such as all kinds of food and drink, and intimacy with spouses, and other things such as no one knows and has never crossed the mind of anyone, indescribable pleasures. Their prayer therein will be, Glory be to you, O Allah, that is, their worship therein will be of Allah, beginning with glorifying Allah and declaring Him to be free of all shortcomings, and ending with praise of Allah. All duties will be waived from them in the realm of reward, and all that will be left for them will be the most perfect of pleasures, one that is greater than delicious food, namely remembrance of Allah in which hearts find rest and souls feel joy. For them it will be like breathing, without any effort or difficulty. Their greeting therein, when they meet or visit one another, will be salam, translated here as peace. That is, it will be speech that is free of any idle talk or sin. It is described as salam, peace. It was said in the commentary on the words, their prayer therein will be, Glory be to you, until the end of the verse, that when the people of paradise need food, drink, and so on, they will say, Glory be to you, O Allah, and it will come to them immediately. Then when they have finished, they will say, Praise be to Allah, the Lord of the worlds.
ولو يعجل الله للناس الشر استعجالهم بالخير لقضي إليهم أجلهم فنذر الذين لا يرجون لقاءنا في طغيانهم يعمهون.
Translation: If Allah were to hasten the punishment for people as they would hasten their reward, then their fate would have been sealed. But we leave those who do not expect to meet us to wander blindly in their misguidance. Interpretation: This is by His kindness and grace towards His slaves. For if He were to hasten the punishment for them as soon as they did that which leads to it, as they would hasten the reward as soon as they did that which leads to it, then their fate would have been sealed. That is, the punishment would have destroyed them. But Allah, the Exalted, gives them respite, although He does not forget about them, and He pardons a great deal. If Allah were to take people to task for their wrongdoing, He would not have left any creature alive on the face of the earth. That includes the case of a man when he gets angry with his children or his family or his wealth, whereupon he may pray against them once, and if that prayer were to be answered, they would be doomed and it would cause a great deal of harm. But Allah, the Exalted, is most forbearing, most wise. But we leave those who do not expect to meet us, that is, they do not believe in the hereafter, hence they do not prepare for it, and they do not do that which would save them from the punishment of Allah, to wander blindly stumbling and confused. They are not guided to the right path and they are not helped to find sound evidence. That is a punishment to them for their wrongdoing and disbelief in the revelations of Allah. In their misguidance, that is, their falsehood in which they overstepped the bounds of truth.
وَإِذَا مَسَّ الْإِنسَانَ الضُّرُّ دَعَانَا لِجَنبِهِ أَوْ قَاعِدًا أَوْ قَائِمًا فَلَمَّا كَشَفْنَا عَنْهُ ضُرَّهُ مَرَّ كَأَن لَّمْ يَدْعُنَا إِلَى ضُرٍّ مَّسَّهُ كَذَلِكَ زُيِّنَ لِلْمُسْرِفِينَ مَا كَانُوا يَعْمَلُونَ.
Translation: When misfortune befalls a person, he calls upon us, lying on his side, sitting or standing. But when we have relieved him of his misfortune, he carries on with his former ways, as if he had never called upon us to relieve him of misfortune that had befallen him. Thus the deeds of the transgressors are made fair seeming to them. Interpretation: Here Allah tells us of the nature of man as he is. If misfortune befalls him, such as sickness or calamity, he strives hard in supplication, asking Allah in all situations, standing and sitting and lying down, and he persists in calling upon Allah to relieve him of his misfortune. But when we have relieved him of his misfortune, he carries on with his former ways, as if he had never called upon us to relieve him of misfortune that had befallen him, that is, he persists in his heedlessness, turning away from his Lord as if no misfortune had ever befallen him of which Allah had then relieved him. What wrongdoing can be greater than this? He asks Allah to meet his needs, then when he grants him that, he does not think of the rights of his Lord. It is as if Allah has no rights over him. This attitude that the shaitan makes fair seeming to him is something very strange and reprehensible according to sound reason and common sense. Thus the deeds of the transgressors who overstep the bounds are made fair seeming to them.
وَلَقَدْ أَهْلَكْنَا الْقُرُونَ مِنْ قَبْلِكُمْ لَمَّا ظَلَمُوا وَجَاءَتْهُمْ رُسُلُهُم بِالْبَيِّنَاتِ وَمَا كَانُوا لِيُؤْمِنُوا كَذَلِكَ نَجْزِي الْقَوْمَ الْمُجْرِمِينَ ثُمَّ جَعَلْنَاكُمْ خَلَائِفَ فِي الْأَرْضِ مِنْ بَعْدِهِمْ لِنَنظُرَ كَيْفَ تَعْمَلُونَ.
Translation: We indeed destroyed nations before you when they transgressed. Their messengers came to them with clear signs, but they would never believe. Thus we requite the Avilders. Then he made you their successors in the land, so that he may see how you will do. Interpretation: Here Allah, the Exalted, tells us that he destroyed the earlier nations for their wrongdoing and disbelief, after the signs had come to them at the hands of the messengers and the truth had become clear. They refused to follow it and did not believe, therefore he sent upon them his punishment that could not be warded off from any Avilders who transgress the sacred limits of Allah. This is his way with all nations. Then he made you who are addressed here, their successors in the land, so that he may see how you will do. If you pay heed and learn a lesson from those who came before you, and you follow the revelations of Allah and believe in his messengers, you will be saved in this world and the hereafter. But if you do what the Avilders before you did, the same fate will befall you as befell them, and the one who issues a warning has left no excuse.
وَإِذَا تُتْلَى عَلَيْهِمْ آيَاتُنَا بَيِّنَاتٍ قَالَ الَّذِينَ لَا يَرْجُونَ لِقَاءَنَا ائْتِ بِقُرْآنٍ غَيْرِ هَذَا أَوْ بَدِّلْهُ قُلْ مَا يَكُونُ لِي أَنْ أُبَدِّلَهُ مِنْ تِلْقَاءِ نَفْسِي إِنْ أَتَّبِعُ إِلَّا مَا يُوحَى إِلَيَّ إِنِّي أَخَافُ إِنْ عَصَيْتُ رَبِّي عَذَابَ يَوْمٍ عَظِيمٍ قُلْ لَوْ شَاءَ اللَّهُ مَا تَلَوْتُهُ عَلَيْكُمْ وَلَا أَدْرَاكُمْ بِهِ فَقَدْ لَبِثْتُ فِيكُمْ عُمُرًا مِّن قَبْلِهِ أَفَلَا تَعْقِلُونَ فمن أظلم ممن افترى على الله كذبا أو كذب بآياته إنه لا يفلح المجرمون.
Translation: But when our clear revelations are recited to them, those who do not expect to meet us say, "Bring us a Quran other than this, or change it." Say, "It is not for me to change it of my own accord. I only follow what is revealed to me. I fear, if I were to disobey my Lord, the punishment of a momentous day." Say, "If Allah had so willed, I would not have recited it to you, nor would he have made it known to you. I spent a whole lifetime among you before it came to me. Will you not then understand? Who does greater evil than he who fabricates lies against Allah or rejects Allah's revelations? Verily, the Avilders will never prosper." Interpretation: Here Allah, the Exalted, mentions the stubbornness of those who disbelieved in his messenger Muhammad, blessings and peace be upon him, and states that when the Quranic revelations of Allah were recited to them, which explained the truth, they turned away from them and demanded, by way of stubbornness, audacity, and wrongdoing. Bring us a Quran other than this, or change it. May Allah curse them for their audacity towards Allah and their wrongdoing and rejection of His revelations. Allah instructed His great messenger, blessings and peace be upon him, to say to them, "It is not for me, that is, it is not appropriate or befitting for me to change it of my own accord, for I am merely a messenger and I have no control over the matter at all. I only follow what is revealed to me, that is, I can do nothing other than that, for I am a slave under orders. I fear, if I were to disobey my Lord, the punishment of a momentous day." These are the words of the best of creation, Prophet Muhammad, blessings and peace be upon him, and his attitude towards the commands and revelations of his Lord. So how about these foolish, misguided people, who combined ignorance and misguidance, wrongdoing and stubbornness, obstinacy and trying to outsmart the Lord of the worlds? Do they not fear the punishment of a momentous day? If they claim that their aim is for the truth to become evident by means of the signs that they demanded, they are lying, for Allah has already shown them signs on the basis of which other people believed, and He is the one who sends signs as He wills, in accordance with His divine wisdom and mercy towards His slaves. Say, if Allah had so willed, I would not have recited it to you, nor would He have made it known to you. I spent a whole lifetime among you before it came to me, that is, before I recited it to you and before you became aware of it, and it never crossed my mind and never occurred to me. Will you not then understand that I never came up with anything like that in my life before, and I never uttered anything of that nature, so how could I come up with it now? I spent my whole life among you and you know me well. You know that I am unlettered and can neither read nor write, and I have not studied or learned from anyone, but I have brought you this great book that the most eloquent and knowledgeable of people are unable to match. As that is the case, how could I have produced it of my own accord? Is this not definitive proof that it is a revelation from the Most Wise, worthy of all praise? If you think on the basis of reason and understanding, and you reflect on my situation and that of this book, you would reach a level of certainty, far beyond any doubt, that it is the truth beyond which is nothing but misguidance. But if you insist on stubbornly disbelieving, then undoubtedly you are wrongdoers. Who does greater evil than he who fabricates lies against Allah or rejects Allah's revelations? If I were making it up, I would be the most evil of people and I would never succeed, and my real situation would never be hidden from you. But I brought you the revelations of Allah, yet you disbelieved in them. Therefore you are wrongdoers and undoubtedly you will decline and never succeed, so long as you remain like that. The words those who do not expect to meet us say. Yunus 10 verse 15. Indicate that what prompted them to be so stubborn was their own lack of belief in the meeting with Allah, for they did not expect to meet Him. The one who expects to meet Allah will inevitably submit to this book and believe in it, for it leads to the best results.